All right, here we go, kids. I finally finished Into Deep, the 29th book in the Jack Reacher series. This one by Lee Child and Andrew Child. And uh, I got to say, it seems as though this book is mainly written by Andrew Child, um, with much less input from Lee. And this is kind of what I've been waiting for. I don't know if you've been following. I've covered a lot of the Jack Reacher books. I cover the Jack Reacher TV series. There's a lot of Reacher content on this channel. And one thing I've been talking about over the last few years, since they've been doing these jointly written books, is when is Andrew going to take over? Because a lot of people blame Andrew for kind of the downgrade in quality of these stories, and in my opinion, it's been more the the push and pull, the two writing styles trying to commingle, and Andrew not quite having grasp of the character yet, but then Lee not quite letting go, and it felt like the joint efforts are what the problem was, and that the more that you let Andrew take over, I think the better they will get. Not to say that they'll be as good as early Jack Reacher novels by Lee Child alone, but I've kind of always hypothesized that if Lee fully handed over the reins to Andrew, that Andrew would do a better job than if they had to do it together. Um, I enjoyed the last book much more than the previous two, and so that led me to believe that something had happened there. Like maybe Andrew was getting more of a grasp of the character and getting more ownership of the writing of these books. So I believe that's continued to happen with this book. This book is notably longer than the last book was. That was one thing about the last book that was a little strange. It was quite a bit shorter than most Jack Reacher novels, but I enjoyed it. It was a quick read, but it was good. I was like, oh man, they're on the uptick here. It's on the upswing. This book, more of the same. I feel like Andrew has definitely taken the reins here. It still says Andrew Child and Lee Child on the cover, but I feel like Lee's name is just kind of there to sell the book, in all honesty. I think Andrew's writing these books now, and I'm glad. I'm glad. Is it as good as early Jack Reacher? Is it as good as Lee's writing was originally, and for the first, 20 novels or so? No, and I don't think we're going to get that, but it's definitely much better than the few co-written books that they did together, where you could tell Lee and Andrew both had a hand in writing and plotting and all that. Uh, I still, I think it's a downgrade from old school Jack Reacher novels. However, I do think they're continuing to get better. This one seems pretty much on par with the last book, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was a little more simple, a little less complex than some of the Jack Reacher stories that we're used to. But overall, I felt like it was a good story. Had a great twist in the end that I did not see coming. Um, and not that it was a crazy out of this world twist. It was just that um, I don't know. I wasn't looking for it, so it worked for me. Um, finding out that one person wasn't really the person that we thought they were. I like that. I like that aspect. Um, I'm kind of missing every once in a while in the Jack Reacher novels. You'll get a story where Jack doesn't really have a partner to bounce things off of. And not that I don't enjoy that. I enjoy when he teams up with someone, but I don't like it to happen every single book. So that was one thing I could do without. I feel like I would enjoy maybe on the next outing to get a Jack Reacher all on his own. Maybe a little input from people from the community, what have you. Um, but kind of in this thing alone. There's not a lot of those stories, but I really enjoy getting them from time to time. Uh, but yes, before I get into spoilers here, I just wanted to give an overall thought on this book. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't. It didn't blow my mind. It wasn't absolutely spectacular, but it was a solid Jack Reacher story. It felt like Reacher, and I really enjoyed what I got. I'll definitely keep reading the series, whether it's Lee or Andrew writing. All right, now moving kind of into the plot a little bit, and this will be spoiler stuff. If you haven't read the book, go read it first and then come back. But this story mostly takes place in the Ozarks, right? And mostly around St. Louis. So that's a different setting. I don't think we've ever been in St. Louis for any of the Reacher stories. But I loved the beginning. I loved him waking up in pain, handcuffed to this table with this injured right arm and having a lapse in memory, not knowing how he got there and having to kind of find that out through the story and try to piece together what happened along the way. So he takes care of the guy that's guarding him. He escapes, but right as he's leaving, he runs into this guy, Ivan Vidich. And Vidich is kind of like this guy throughout. He's like, it was weird in the beginning. He's already giving Reacher, I feel like, too much information, even though he's part of the group that brought Reacher there. But Reacher finds out he was in a car accident. He was a passenger, and the guy driving was an FBI agent. And he was like trying to infiltrate this group. And they were confused. Like, who the hell is this guy that's with this suspected FBI agent? Like, what's going on? Let's bring him back and kind of see what he's all about. Well, it turns out, Reacher was just getting a ride from this guy, as Reacher does from lots of people. So he's just kind of wrong place, wrong time, right? Which is bound to happen when you're Jack Reacher. Basically every other trip, you're you're going to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't know. Can you imagine a Jack Reacher story where he just goes and kind of enjoys himself in a town and then moves on? I mean, I'd kind of welcome it, I guess. I mean, it wouldn't be as fun, but just a change of pace. But anyway, he throughout this story, he meets up with someone else who has a grudge against this group, or at least one person in this group. Someone she believes killed her father, and she is a cop from a town in Arizona, and she's traveled there literally just to take her revenge and kill this guy who killed her father. But along the way, she realizes that that's not the right way. She'd rather see him rot in jail. But I did love the twist. I love the twist to find out that Vidich was actually the FBI agent and not the guy in the car. And the guy in the car was literally just, he was trying to basically leave a body so that the FBI thought that he died, because basically he had turned bad. He had broke bad and decided he liked this criminal lifestyle more than he liked being a cop. And so that's why we get the title In Too Deep. Sometimes with these Reacher novels, it's hard to determine exactly what the title is referring to. And sometimes I think they pick the wrong title, like it's a kind of an unimportant part of the book. I don't know. But this one worked really well. It was about this undercover agent who went in, got in too deep, and kind of broke bad, and now he's a criminal and wants to keep living this criminal life and run away with this girl from the group, betray the other members of the gang, and take all the money, right? And I like that. I like the twist. I like finding out that, because it didn't make sense. Like, why are they keeping this body of this dead FBI agent? What are they going to do with it? But the idea was to burn it beyond recognition, leave clues that it was Vidich, that it was, this undercover FBI agent, so that the FBI would just think he died and never even be looking for him, and he could disappear into criminality forever. I dug it. I liked the story. It worked really well for me. Like I said, it wasn't super complex, but it was a nice twist. And with the added element of Jack Reacher not having his memory, it added to the mystery of it, right? Like, if he remembered everything, maybe this wouldn't have been such a mystery, but it adds a lot of story because he's trying to figure things out, even though it wasn't directly related. Like, he didn't know that guy wasn't an FBI agent. He didn't know any of that. Even if he did have his memory, he wouldn't have known that. But it adds to the element of mystery of the story, that you're always wondering, like, how much had he found out before he lost his memory? Like, would he be able to piece this all together as soon as his memory comes back? And no, not really. He still has to figure out the mystery even after kind of recalling some stuff from the accident. But yeah, those are my overall thoughts. I'm glad I finally got around to finishing the book, and it's no one's fault but my own. I'm just a busy guy. I got a lot of stuff I've been reviewing. The Penguin series on HBO, Agatha All Along on Disney Plus, and I'm just a busy guy in general. But I finally got around to finishing it. I'm currently reading Batman Resurrection, which is a sequel to the Batman '89 film. So interesting, very interesting concept, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'll probably do a review of that soon too. But in terms of Reacher, we've got the Reacher series coming back for season 3 very soon. I can't wait to review that episode by episode, and I'm always looking forward to the next Jack Reacher novel that comes out every year around this time. So if you are a fan of Reacher books, Reacher TV series, please subscribe to the channel because there's a ton of Reacher content. It's not all I do. I do a lot of entertainment and pop culture, movie reviews, TV series, all kinds of stuff like that, current events. So if you do decide to stick around and subscribe to the channel, then I will talk to you again real soon. Thanks.